if you read historical accounts of the Battle of Chancellorsville, that speech is always presented as a kind of prologue to the battle, to the real things that happen over the course of the next 2 days. But I don't think it's the prologue. I think it's the whole story. To me, everything about that battle can be understood in the context of what Hooker said at that moment. God Almighty cannot prevent me from victory tomorrow, right? Why is he so sure? And what are the consequences of being that confident about some campaign or decision that you're about to make? Now, this is something that a lot of psychologists have spent a lot of time thinking about. And there's a wonderful study that was done some years ago that really helps us to understand that position that Hooker's in. And it was a study by a guy named Stuart Oskamp. And what he does is he has a patient named Joseph Kidd, and he takes Joseph Kidd's file. So this is a guy he's been helping and working with for giving therapy to for many years. And he gets together a panel of psychiatrists, very experienced psychiatrists. And he gives them all a one-page description of Joseph Kidd's condition, like his life, his problems, and stuff. And he has these guys read this one page on Joseph Kidd and then fill out a 25-question questionnaire to diagnose what's wrong with Kidd, right? So he says, read this little bit and then see how good you are at figuring out what Kidd's problems are. And then after they've filled out the questionnaire once, he goes back to them and he gives them another 2 pages of information about Kidd and says, fill out the questionnaire again, now that you know more about Kidd. And then he comes back to them a 3rd time and he says, here's 2 more pages on Kidd, fill out the questionnaire. And then finally he gives them the whole file, everything we know about Kidd, and says, fill out the questionnaire. And what Oskamp wants to figure out is, as I give you more information, do you get better at making a prediction, right? At making a good decision in a difficult case. And that sounds like a dumb thing to ask, because of course you'd think if you give someone more information, they're going to do a better job of making a decision. But what he finds is really weird, and that is it doesn't seem to make any difference how much information he gives the psychiatrists. In each of those 4 iterations, they get the same number of questions right. With 1 page, they get about 25% of the questions right. With 2 pages, they get like 26%. With another 2 pages, it goes up to 27%. And then when they get the whole file, it's like actually back down to 26%. Now, that's very strange, because we would think, right, that normally that when you arm somebody with more knowledge, they make better decisions. But there is this is something that has been noticed repeatedly over the years by a number of people who study decision-making, and that is we really overestimate how much value there is in extra bits of information. Now, I could talk all day about that problem, but that's not what I'm interested in. What I'm interested in is the second thing that Oskamp does, and that is every time he has his psychiatrists fill out that questionnaire on Kidd, he asks them a second question. He said, I want you to guess how many questions you got right on the questionnaire. And what he found was that as he gave his psychiatrists more and more information on Kidd, the accuracy of their diagnosis did not improve, but their confidence in the accuracy of their diagnosis improved, right? Give them 2 extra pages and all of a sudden they think, oh, I'm going to do a really good job. Give them 2 more pages and they think, I understand this guy. Give them the whole file and they are convinced they will get every question right. Now, what that condition is called, that condition of an expert having excess confidence in their decision, what that's called is miscalibration. And when we look at mistakes that experts or leaders make, usually they fall into that category, right? They fall into the category of thinking you know more than you actually know, that category of overconfidence.